So let's talk a little bit about the forced sex fantasy. As I mentioned earlier, it's important for people to understand that this is an imaginary plot and not a real assault. Right? This
Right.
is just imaginary. The person imagining this is the author, the producer, the casting agent, the director, and the star of the show in their own mind. And that often when people describe those fantasies, they're actually not violent
Mm.
in ways that an actual assault might be. Hardly anyone ever would actually want to be forced to have sex in real life. It's actually more about dominance, control, power, and surrender.
Mhm.
That is usually the theme of that, and that the imagined assailant often is not actually very violent. So I want to make that distinction because I think that's a controversial one, and
Absolutely.
people do get kind of like stressed and worried about why they might be having a fantasy like that. And so I
Mhm.
really want to just drive home that it's not comparable to an actual sexual assault.
Mhm.
And if anything, there is some theory that sometimes, we tend to think of women having that fantasy, and we hear about it a little bit more often with women, but of course, anyone can have any kind of sexual fantasy. But that women were socialized to suppress our sexuality and to not be expressive and assertive and dominant when it comes to our sexuality. So there's a theory that some women have this particular sexual fantasy because they are all the characters in their own
Yeah.
mind, that in a way they actually still are channeling
Mm.
the dominance and power and aggression in the
Mm.
sexuality of the assailant.
Mm. That's really
And
interesting.
it is interesting to think about that you're in control of all the characters in your own mind, and they all might serve a purpose for you as well.